What's Zubera Storm? This is a Zubera. You can't see it because like the glare. So the Zubera Storm deck is a machine all about getting this guy into a graveyard, bringing him back, and getting him back in there as many times as possible. The blue one draws cards, and the red one deals damage. Once you've done it enough, the red one finishes the job. I dropped one. Troll of Khazad-dûm. Troll of Khazad-dûm is a really cool, like, secondary win condition. Once people are like, what the f was that? You can just next turn try to get a troll into the graveyard by cycling, ransack the lab, and then bring it back with Exhume. I would show you Exhume, but I put it in another deck by now. I've been playing Pauper, funnily enough. Today, we're playing against one of my least favorite decks. It's called Pest. I don't like the rat. This is the rat. If you watch the previous video, I don't like the rat. I also don't like the cat. But for every time in my life I've played against the cat, I've been playing my own slow game. Today, we're gonna make sure this cat dies 9 times before it even knows it. My starting hand here is pretty solid. I have the Saros here, which I need to like sacrifice my Zubera over and over. But I don't have the Zubera, so that ransack the lab is gonna have to find one real quick. Zubera.
I have an advantage that my opponent doesn't know what I'm playing, but I know exactly what he's playing. I've played against this opponent with this deck many times before. It is Pest. It's a very slow deck that gains a lot of life, which is good for me if I can just wombo combo them out of the water. I don't have a Floating Dream Zubera in my starting hand, but I did have a troll I can cycle by putting into my graveyard and finding a swamp. And the swamp I find also makes blue mana, so if I do draw a Zubera now, I can actually cast it, which is always good. My opponent's drawing cards, playing Eco Wellsprings, Campfires, gaining life, having a great time, trying to figure out what is this deck he's up against. And he has some sort of ideas, but guessing you're against Zubera Storm is not normal. I then play an Exhume, bringing my troll back, which is the secondary strategy for this deck. If you don't have a Zubera, you can try to win with a troll. My opponent is playing one Doomblade today to fight against Leonardo Big Brother instead of a cast down, which means the Doomblade in his hand right now can't take care of the troll I have in play. So I swing in for 7, bringing my opponent down to 12, and he's gotta be feeling the pressure of my secondary strategy. I do have ways of making sure my troll comes back in case he draws a removal spell, but in actuality I am looking for a Floating Dream Zubera so I can do my combo while he's digging for removals to get rid of this troll that's bearing down on him, bringing him all the way down to 7. I cast a Ransack the Lab, showing my opponent a Fake Your Own Death and a Swamp into the graveyard. Seeing the Fake Your Own Death prompts my opponent to know that the troll could do 8 damage in a single hit, and he needs to dig for a removal right now before this troll can end the game. He then casts a Lembus. You can't see it because I've placed the camera kind of bad, and he scries 1. Him not putting that scry in the bottom and drawing the card tells me that that's probably a removal spell. So I could do the play of keeping Fake Your Own Death open to keep my troll alive for next turn, but I've drawn the Zubera, so I sent my troll in. My opponent uses the cast down, and since it's been allowed to hit him this many times, I assume there are no more removal spells. So I let it go to the graveyard, or I sacrifice it with the Visarasia, and then I play the Floating Dream Zubera. My opponent gives it a read, because no one remembers how these Zuberas work. Assuming our opponent has nothing to stop me, I use my Peatbog to cast Cabal Ritual, Fake Your Own Death on my Floating Dream Zubera, and then we do the trick where we sacrifice it, put a trigger on the stack to draw cards and one to bring it back, resolve the one to bring it back, sacrifice it again once it's back with a Culling the Weak, getting 4 black mana. It goes into the graveyard. There's now 3 triggers on the stack, 2 to draw cards, 1 to bring it back, and I draw the cards. My opponent's reminding me of the order of all the triggers as well as the scry from the Viserys here. It was very nice of him. It's very hard to execute this combo for me since I've had very little practice with this deck and I've just brought it into a tournament live. I then cast Dark Ritual into Cabal Ritual and I have so much mana floating. Unearth my Floating Dream Zubera and do the same trick again, making a treasure, bringing it back after sacrificing it, and then I use a Not dead after all to do the trick one more time. I now have 3 triggers to draw 5 cards each. That means I get to draw 15 cards off of this. That's a lot of magic cards to draw. My opponent does know the deck and asks me if I don't have a deterministic win now. He would like to go to his second game as it takes a while for his deck to win and he needs 2 more wins now. So I show him the Ember Fist Zubera and he cleans it up. Picks it up.
That was awesome. That's exactly what the Zubera Storm is supposed to do. You saw it in action exactly how it works. I love going Dark Ritual, Cabal Ritual, thing. It feels good to do. Now, the problem is, my opponent wasn't sure what I was trying to do. Now he knows, and it's gonna be harder to get to do it. Especially because this is my starting hand. I had to mulligan down to 5, and there's still no land and no Zubera. What am I gonna do? I'm gonna keep it. And here's the plan. A Lotus Petal is going to be a Dark Ritual. It's going to be a Ransack the Lab. The Ransack the Lab is going to hit a land that makes mana for a Zubera. And that Zubera is also going to be on the Ransack the Lab and go into the graveyard. It can't possibly. Here's the game.
Going down to 5 never feels good, but when you're up a game, it's okay to keep a risky hand. I have a Lotus Petal as my mana source, which I immediately sacrifice to cast Dark Ritual into Ransack the Lab, and I need the best Ransack the Lab we ever saw. I put 2 Unearth into the graveyard, and then I do find the land that I need to take, and I put a Viserys here into play. So that was okay. I found my land. Now I just need a blue source and a Floating Dream Zubera, and the dream is alive. My opponent has played a Campfire and a Bounce land, and I do find a second land, which is amazing, and it's a mountain too, so I can play Ember Fist Zubera. I get in there for 1, bringing my opponent down to 21, and he played a Lembas and drew more cards. I don't think the aggro plan is gonna work today. I got a Peat Bog, I'm attacking for another 1, and I now have 3 lands from a starting hand of 0. That's pretty good. But I do need to stop drawing lands now, because I need, a Zubera to win the game with. I get in there for 1 each turn, but this Campfire keeps gaining life. My opponent sacrifices the Lembas to a Fanatical Offering, drawing 2 cards in the process, and shuffling the Lembas into the library. Then Swarm Cycle a Troll to go find a Swamp and put it into his hand. He gets a map off of the Fanatical Offering, and then draws for his turn. He then passes the turn to me, and I once more have to just draw a land and play it, attack for 1, and my opponent is still at 22. This 1-1 is not as good as a 6-5, it turns out. My opponent does the same thing as before, drawing a whole bunch of cards with a Fanatical Offering, and I'm starting to get scared that I won't win this game, because my opponent could start doing scary things soon. I draw yet another land. At least it's blues. If I get the Zubera, I can play it, but I have nothing I can cast in my hand. And I need to draw Ransack the Lab or my Zubera. Anything except lands. I kept 0 lands. How do I have 4 now? This is a problem. I went from being mana screwed to mana flooded. My opponent plays a whole bunch of artifacts that gains life. They're all foods, so you can sacrifice them to gain life. I cycle an Unearth because I need some sort of gas, but I don't find any and I have to pass the turn. And while I do have a combo win, gaining life is a way to stop it because I can only do around 40 damage as most. So if that life total hits somewhere around 42, I'm gonna have a really hard time winning the game at all. My opponent's already all the way up to 30. He's just going to gain so much life that I can't win. So what am I supposed to do? But at least he's not putting on any pressure, so I can still find my combo and try and win. Then he casts Pestilence. This can tap for 1 mana, deal 1 damage to each creature and each player. If there are no creatures in play at the end of turn, you sacrifice it. This is a massive problem, because he has a lot of mana, and he can just start wearing me down. As long as he can gain more life than me each turn, he can finish me off using this Pestilence. Luckily, all the creatures in play are 1/1s, so he can only do like 1 damage, and then, it'll have to go at end of turn because there are no creatures in play. So as long as no big creature hits the board, I'm fine. So I play a Troll with 5 toughness, letting him shoot me for 4 every turn. This was not a good idea. As you can see, he starts pinging us. The first to go is my Viserys here that I, sacrificed to scry 1. But now he can actually ping for 4 every turn if he wants to, which he immediately proceeds to do. And that hurts a lot. He does have to do it carefully because I have a way to reanimate my things. So he's doing it one by one, so he has enough damage to respond in case I want to cast something like Not Dead After All. I do have a Reaping the Graves, which can bring my creatures back, so this could allow me to combo if I can draw a Zubera off the top right now. The problem is that was my end step, so he gets to untap, and he still has the Pestilence even though no creatures are in play, because it checks it in a turn. You let that resolve, and then you use the Pestilence to kill all the creatures, and you have it for your turn. So now I'm kind of screwed. I did find my Zubera. There's just one problem. The Pestilence can also kill the Zubera if I try to make it come back. I tried to cast a Fake Your Own Death on it. He activates the Pestilence twice, killing the Zubera in response to my Fake Your Own Death. So I sacrifice it with a Culling the Weak to get 4 black mana, which draws me a single card, which isn't enough to really, win the game right now. I cast a Resentful Revelation looking for some way to beat this Pestilence. Here's a spoiler. There's no way for this deck to beat Pestilence, not when my opponent has this much mana open. I need that Pestilence to go away, otherwise this game is over. However, since the game is over, I do try to go off as much as I can. My Zubera count is currently 1. I play the Ember Fist Zubera. Then I play the Viserys. I sacrifice the Ember Fist Zubera, dealing 2 damage to my opponent, bringing all the way down to 21. And that was my combo. After drawing lands for this many turns in a row, I've brought my opponent down to 23. And for some reason, my life total is now 1C. That's very good editing, Eva. You're doing great, honestly. This is great work. He then uses his Pestilence to win the game.
Hello, it's me again talking about the game I just had. That was actually surprisingly fine. We found so many lands. I don't need all those lands. I need 2, 3 lands, not 5. I can't beat Pestilence with this deck. Once it's on the board, it shuts my deck down because it can kill the Zubera in response to anything I do. In my sideboard, I have nothing that stops Pestilence, so the plan is to win before Pestilence hits the board. Now, this last game is the opposite. My opponent has mulliganed to 4, and I'm on 7. Now, you think that's good for me. You're like, hey, that's gonna be awesome. That's a free win. Like, this is very macabre. If he has it, it's gonna be kind of hard for me to win. The only thing I can do is try to do Reaping the Graves in response to him exiling the red Zubera. Because if it's exiled, I have no way to get back from exile. Or, as I really truly want, for him to have nothing in hand, me to go off before he does anything. Let's see what happens. Over to you, me. That's a joke I stole.
The foot's on the other shoe now. I have a full card of 7 hand. Wow, that's terribly set. And my opponent has multiple 4. On my second turn, I get to cast Ransack the Lab, putting 2 cards into my graveyard and making sure my hand can go off as soon as possible. My opponent has to feel the stress right now. Lembas looks for some sort of answer. If I slam a Zubera and a Viserys, I could go off right now. I have a Lotus Petal, I have a blue and a red, and a black mana. Think for a moment. I untap my land again. I cast the Floating Dream Zubera. I spend the black. I sacrifice it to gain 4 black mana. This is a tense moment. I go to draw my 1 card. If this is Viserys, I'm good. We then use Exhume to get back the Floating Dream Zubera, and I found the Viserys using my Lotus Petal to cast it for some reason. And then Fake Your Own Death on the Zubera, sacrificing it to the Viserys, bringing it back, getting a treasure, and sacrificing it. Zubera count currently is 3. That means we draw 3, scry 1, draw 3, scry 1. We're combo deck, and we just drew 7 cards this turn already, and we still have floating mana left and a treasure. So, after drawing all those cards, we use a treasure to cast an Unearth, bringing back the Floating Dream Zubera. We do the trick again, making it come back when it dies, sacrificing it, making sure to trick the stackers correct, stack the triggers correct, sacrificing it, and then this time the Zubera count is so high, I can't remember. We draw even more cards, and we find our second untapped land, which is a dark ritual into a Kappa ritual into a Kappa ritual. And the floating mana is drowning me. I'm so rich right now. Sephiroth shows up, looks at the top 3, puts stuff into my graveyard. We unearth the floating dream Zubera. What's the Zubera count? Who cares? We're gonna draw like 15 cards now. We don't even want to explain how this works because we know, and my opponent looks at it and goes, you know what? Yeah.
That's 1-1 in the tournament. That's so sick. It's an all-in deck that relies on your opponent not knowing what you're doing or not having the tools prepared to. An opponent who didn't play all counter spells and discards. Right last opponent. And instead try to grind us out. But you know, we're on grind. I'm not gonna finish that sentence, I just realized. I wanna keep going. I'm ready. Blood. Give me Zubera blood. Don't forget to Zubera scribe. I made that joke and it's okay. It's fine. I made that joke. I'm okay.